parents in Slovenia are very naive. We had modeling agencies coming to our elementary schools.
You said modeling agencies are coming to your elementary school?
Elementary school, yeah. And I never even thought anything about it. Like, you understand? Like, now when I watch you and I see the things unfolding, I'm like, oh my God, that was actually kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
I remember I was 12, 13. They came and they was like, we're taking pictures of you. You can be a model. And I like had a physicist father that just came home and was ranting about how models are, whores. And so I didn't touch that.
She said, so I didn't touch that. So modeling agencies came to her elementary school, but because she had a father, he steered her away from that and said, go to school.
I studied, biology. And I also know a model that went to that world, told me they really do treat you like cattle, like cows. Because I think Melania is just the one that gave in. That's why we have no respect for her, right? I don't think she was like Erica is like, she is bred in America. To me, it looks like for a specific purpose from specific people. Knowing Slovenian parents, Slovenian culture, I don't think that's Melania. I think she just was pretty, as most Slavic women are. She was beautiful and she gave in, They do come for beautiful women of Slovenia, make them stars in America or wherever. And just like Melania became famous and probably is also doing weird stuff. I'm not defending this woman. I think that's correct. I think they are both connected via same handlers, EpiPen, all those people.
You witnessing yourself that modeling agencies were coming to your elementary school, right? So some people don't know about this.
This is Leon Black, a billionaire mentioned in the Epstein files, and also the owner of LifeTouch, the photography company that has been taking pictures of kids in schools for decades.
All right, so this is what we're going to talk about today. For anybody that is a parent, make sure to share this with other parents. So if you know somebody that has kids that are in school, I think this is a very important conversation to have. I'm thankful for this young lady to come up and talk about how when she was in elementary school, a modeling agency came to her school. Like, why? But we're gonna find out exactly why. So drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. And of course, hit the thumbs up button. But this is a very important conversation to have because there are mothers and fathers that have kids that are in school that are taking pictures with LifeTouch or another company right now, like this school year. So we can stop this from happening today if this gets shared to enough people. This is absolutely crazy when I found this out. So let's go.
Company that has been taking pictures of kids in schools for decades. And when we start to make the connections between Epstein and who he chose to do business with and who was financing him, it is one big connected web. And I still don't think we are mad enough about what is going on, because when you start to connect these dots and you start to think, okay, there's a massive catalog of kids out there attached to Jeffrey Epstein. What was it being used for? We still don't have any prosecutions. And again, I don't think we're mad enough.
If you are a parent, I need you to stop and watch this video, because what I've been going through in the Epstein files should concern everyone, but especially parents. Now, stick with me on this because it's important. If you have kids, or even from when you were a kid, you probably remember a company called LifeTouch. They're the company that takes school photos, and they've been around for decades. In fact, I remember them taking my school photos when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s, and a lot of you probably remember that too. So this is a company that's been around for a while and has had routine access to American and Canadian schools for generations. Well, today, LifeTouch is owned by Shutterfly, which was acquired by a company called Apollo Global Management. That means LifeTouch and Shutterfly now sit in the same corporate structure. Now, when people hear school photos, they tend to think it's just a picture. It's not. School photo systems typically include a child's name, their school, their grade, their teacher, classroom information. Parents then provide home addresses, email addresses, phone numbers, and payment details. All of that information is tied directly to an image of a child, your child, and stored long-term for reorders, archives, and future access.
And as a parent, I don't necessarily remember picture day with my kids. I'm sure my kids had picture day just like everybody else. But has anybody ever tried to like go against picture day and say, I don't want my kid to take pictures? Because according to what somebody said was, if you try to keep your kid from taking pictures, they would give you some pushback. So does anybody watching have any recollection of either you as a kid having to take pictures even though you don't want to, or do you have any recollection as a parent not wanting your kid to take pictures and somebody trying to push you to take the pictures? Because that's a conversation we got to have also. Are or were they trying to make people do this? That's a conversation to have also, because then you got to look at why.
They don't ever delete the photos. Shutterfly separately holds millions of consumer uploaded family photo accounts. Those accounts include images of children, often labeled with names, dates, schools, personal details that parents upload themselves. And again, stick with me here. So what you end up with are two massive pipelines of children's images and identifying information living under one corporate umbrella. That umbrella is Apollo. Now, Apollo was co-founded by a man named Leon Black. Leon Black's financial relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is documented in court records, including payments, settlements, and Epstein-related legal exposure. In 2023, Leon Black paid $62.5 million to the U.S. Virgin Islands to resolve claims connected to the Epstein investigation and child trafficking.
Y'all hear that, right? This is the person behind the company that may still be in charge of taking pictures of students. He had to pay out $60-some million. And Rachel said she thought it was mandatory. That's what I'm thinking. I kind of like remember, because, you know, when you're a kid, you're like awkward. You got a big nose, you got a big ears, you know, you kind of like, you don't like how you look as a kid at some point, and you don't want to take these pictures. So I don't remember, but I do remember like some kids not wanting to take pictures and their parents kind of like made them take pictures or whatever. So I'm just trying to remember, because, you know, back then was kind of foggy. But yeah, just imagine we all are a part of a catalog of, you know, and somebody has access to our pictures when we were kids, and they're like PDF file people. Like, this is crazy.
Leon paid Jeffrey Epstein roughly $158 million over several years. Now, he denies any wrongdoing, but the settlement exists. Leon Black stepped down from Apollo because of all these allegations, accusations, etc., and a man named Mark Rowan took over as CEO. Well, wouldn't you know it, Mark Rowan also appears heavily in the Epstein files and emails, things like calendar entries, arranging meetings and breakfasts with Jeffrey across multiple years. Now, I'm not accusing of Mark Rowan of a crime. I'm not alleging wrongdoing by LifeTouch employees because I don't want to get sued, and I'm not claiming Shutterfly is misusing data. But when the former leader...
This is it right here. Yes, you back then, you had to take the pictures, but you didn't have to buy the pictures. I knew it was something. There was a mandatory thing about these pictures. Every student, it was mandatory for every student to take a picture or the pictures, but it wasn't, you know, they didn't care if you bought them or not. So the question is, why was it mandatory for you to take the pictures? This is the reason why. This is the reason why. It's all connected to a PDF file ring. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, wouldn't you know it, Mark Rowan also appears heavily in the Epstein files and emails, things like calendar entries, arranging meetings and breakfasts with Jeffrey across multiple years. Now, I'm not accusing of Mark Rowan of a crime. I'm not alleging wrongdoing by LifeTouch employees because I don't want to get sued, and I'm not claiming Shutterfly is misusing data. But when the former leader of a firm had documented financial ties to Epstein and the current CEO appears in Epstein scheduling records, it's reasonable to pause and ask questions, especially when that same firm controls the companies handling massive databases of children's photos and personal information of those children.
I was talking to my husband, who used to be an employee of LifeTouch, and he was telling me that the main reason why schools decide to go with LifeTouch is because they pay the schools to get access to your children. So there's always that saying, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So maybe it is. Maybe they do want access to our children to sell to billionaires. I don't know if that's true, but I can tell you right now, we can be discerning. We can say, no, I don't want my children to be in a database. I don't want to be paying for photos that might be sold to higher ups. I want to know where all this information is being stored and where it's going.
And then even when you just think about truancy officers, like me and my friends used to skip school when we were kids. And I remember running from truancy officers. Why were there truancy officers in the first place? Why is a government setting aside a certain amount of money to pay grown men to chase students? I remember I got caught before and I was brought back to the school. I was caught by a truancy officer and they brought me back to the school. That's a certain, like, that's almost like slave catching. You know, if a slave, you know, escapes from the plantation, then you got slave catchers and they're paid a bounty to bring the slave back to the plantation. Why was it so mandatory for us to go to school, period? And, you know, the obvious reason is you're supposed to go to school. But why are you supposed to go to school? Like, it's on the parent to make sure your kid goes to school. And should your parents be out there chasing you around and not a truancy officer? Well, we are or were little slaves, because the actual reason for school is to industrialize us. Because if you think about everything having to do with school, one, we learn at a young age to walk in a single file line. If you remember when you was in elementary school, in middle school, well, let's just say elementary school. I don't remember about what we was doing in middle school, but it'd be a line of kids going this way and it'd be a line of kids going that way, right? And we can't talk to the kids that are in the other line. And we had to walk in single file lines. When it was time to go to lunch, we walked in single file lines and stood in line and waited to get our tray. And then they, you know, dropped a little food on the tray. And then we sat down in the lunchrooms. But when you look at jail, if anybody has ever seen prison or jail just on TV or have been, it's the exact same way. So schools and prisons are constructed exactly the same way, because I used to go to prisons to teach the prisoners how to let go of childhood trauma, how to let go of the guilt that they're feeling because they're in prison. And I used to go to the prisons like 3 times a week, right? So I spent a lot of time with them. And because I spent a lot of time with them, I would go to lunch with them. And the same exact thing would happen to the prisoners. They would have to walk in a single file line. And when they go to lunch, it will be a bell. Remember, it was a bell to change classes. There was a bell to go to lunch. Put a 1 in the chat. Y'all remember the bell. Bing, bing, bing. That means it's time for you to change classes, right? The same thing will happen in prison. So we'll be sitting around playing cards, you know, in the prison. And next thing you know, boom, boom, boom. Now it's time to go to, and they'll be like, I'm like, what's that? Oh, it's time to go to lunch. Oh, okay, cool. So I'm going to lunch with them and we stand in line and then they hand us a tray and it's the same yellow or blue tray that I was handed when I was a kid. And then, you know, they put the food on the thing, on the tray, and then you sit down in the same type of foldable tables. You know how those big white foldable tables with the little chairs on the side that's connected. And then, you know, when you're done, when they're done, they'll fold them up and move them to the side or whatever. It was the same thing. Recreation is bing, bing, bing. And next thing you know, it's like, hey, it's time to go outside and play. The same thing with prison. It'll be a noise or a bell and it's time to go outside. And now you can play basketball. You can just walk around and stuff, get some air, get some sun. And as an adult, you start to realize, like, damn, everything that we went through as children, even if you skip class, getting chased by the truancy officers. When you're adult, when you commit a crime, you're chased by the police. Everything that I went through as a kid, I was able to see in these prisons as adult men and adult women. Also, I'm sure the women go through the same thing. So it's cultural brainwashing. So this means everything that we went through as kids, not just the Easter Bunny, not just Santa Claus, everything that we went through as kids was a lie. everything had something to do with tadpole traffic lights. I'm either going to show you, I'm gonna play this a little bit more, but I'm going to show you something else.
And just starting to dig a little bit deeper, taking pause and understand, where is this company? Where's the information coming from? How am I going to benefit from this interaction? And maybe we need to start shopping local on pretty much everything, because these national companies that own everything, that do it on the cheap, they're probably being run and solicited by people that aren't in our best interests. Let's be honest.
Right.
Leon Black is a billionaire. He's the owner of LifeTouch. LifeTouch is the company that takes your children's photos every year at school. They take those photos of our children and upload them to a government database. I've just shown you the receipts of Leon Black doing business with Jeffrey Epstein. That receipt is from the Epstein files. You see those large sums of money? Those were for purchasing
tadpoles.
Where did they get the catalog
to see what tadpoles they want to purchase?
And they wanted to purchase through the LifeTouch database, y'all. Everyone.
Would you blokes like to make?
So I didn't want to just interrupt that young lady, but I'm gonna come back to her. But y'all remember this? This is Pinocchio. This is our childhood. Pinocchio was about traffic lights. Watch.
How would you blokes like to make some real money? Well, and who do we have to, No, nothing like that. You see?
This is crazy, y'all.
Stupid little boys. You know, the disobedient ones, what Pinocchio from school.
The disobedient ones.
And you see, and I takes him to Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island? But the law, suppose they... No, there's no risk. They never come back.
They never come back.
Boys! Come on, let's have another. And what's your name? Okay, you'll do. In you go. You horse will bring a nice price. All right, next. And what might your name be?
Alexander.
So you can talk.
Yes, sir. I want to go home to my mama.
Take him back. He can still talk.
Please, I don't want to be a junkie. Let me out of here.
Quiet! You boys have had your fun. Now pay for it.
Let's get into the Pinocchio effect. And this was 1940, y'all.
In the 1940 Pinocchio animation film, Pinocchio gets invited to Pleasure Island by this sketchy-looking fox. On his way there, he meets this other boy named Lampwick who states that in Pleasure Island there's no school, rules, or cops. Kids can do whatever they want, even drink booze and smoke cigarettes.
And keep this in mind now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because of what Choke No Joke said about African Bambaataa.
Africa Bambaataa for the Bronx. You got Russell for Queens.
So this is the reason why I'm bringing this up. And African Bambaataa is one of the first ever rappers in history. And African Bambaataa was allegedly doing the same stuff that everything else is being discussed. So if you know, you know. So African Bambaataa is one of the first ever rappers, like when rap was invented, and he was running around doing all these disgusting things. So we're just talking about Pinocchio and just when we were kids and how everything was a lie, including rap, cartoons, everything. African Bambaataa and Russell Simmons. So all of these men in New York. Remember Russell Simmons? Russell Simmons is behind, the beginning of rap also. So African Bambaataa Russell Simmons, they literally invented all that stuff. That was like Run DMC, LL Cool J. Everything that we experienced as a child was a lie.
Were literally finding young boys and turning them gay. Okay? So I just want to make sure y'all understand the context of this conversation. African Bambaataa and a lot of other older cats, Diddy, they were allegedly turning young boys gay. All right? Keep that in mind. They were turning young boys gay in New York. A bunch of them. So now let's go to the Pinocchio situation.
Everything seemed to be going good as they are having fun destroying things and fighting when suddenly Lampwick starts transforming into a donkey. It turns out that the island is cursed, and a combination of tobacco, alcohol, and misbehaving, it's more than enough to turn bratty boys into complete jackasses.
So what is happening, just like at the Diddy party, everything that the kids are consuming is spiked with something that turned them into donkeys.
Just like at a Diddy
Just
party.
like at Diddy parties, allegedly, the baby oil is spiked. The drinks are spiked. Just like Columbus Short said. He started trying to get it out of him because he realizes that what he just drank was spiked. It's the same exact thing. So they get little boys and they allegedly spike drinks in order to make them into something else. So in the cartoon, they couldn't say they turned gay. So the cartoon said they made them into donkeys.
It's out that the island is cursed, and a combination of tobacco, alcohol, and
See, the tobacco and the alcohol was spiked. So a lot of these rappers, they got all of this. They got this formula to turn young boys gay from Pinocchio.
Real quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. This is getting good. Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if this is getting good. Put a 1 in the chat if this is getting good.
This just in, a new way of healing is sweeping the country, and it's a card game called Like Mother, Like Daughter. This game is powerful.
My favorite question was, if you could parent me all over again, what would you change? This card game has a mother deck and a daughter deck, so we both have questions for each other.
These are some good questions.
Do you think I'm a people pleaser? If so, where did I get this trait from?
This card game actually helped my marriage, and the questions showed me that I still had unresolved issues with my mom, and I was taking them out on my husband.
If you don't do anything else, buy this card game. You won't regret it. Click the link below.
Like mother, like daughter, we are the same. You'll see when we play this game.
And to all the people that have been buying mother-daughter card games, thank you. And to the people who have not already, make sure to get your mother-daughter card game because Mother's Day is coming up. People are buying like 3-4 card games at a time. So if you want your mother-daughter card game for Mother's Day, is a perfect gift to give to your mother, to give to your kid's mother, to give to your wife, to your ex-wife, to your cousin, to your aunt, to anybody that is a mother in your family. Make sure to get the mother-daughter card game while supplies last. I will sell out before Mother's Day because, like I said, people are buying 3 card games at a time. Get your card games while supplies last. The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat, and the link is also pinned in the comment section also. So make sure to get your mother-daughter card game, and let's keep going.
Hove, and seeing how Hove has been extremely quiet, radio silent right now. Why do you think that Hove might be next? Because I have that same. They were doing like excellent
for Queens. He'll sign you to a record deal.
Smoke it. What? Go ahead. Yes, you been trying to get to be before. Discovered it.
You can take pictures.
All right, so let's get back to the Pinocchio part. I want to stand on Pinocchio part.
So that's what.
So this is Pinocchio.
You boys have had your fun. Now pay for it. Boys? So that's what.
In the 1940 Pinocchio animation film, Pinocchio gets invited to Pleasure Island by this sketchy-looking fox. On his way there, he meets this other boy named Lampwick who states that in Pleasure Island there's no school, rules, or cops. Kids can do whatever they want, even drink booze and smoke cigarettes. Everything seemed to be going good as they are having fun destroying things and fighting when suddenly Lampwick starts transforming into a donkey.
What's going on? Oh, I've been double-crossed! Help! Help! Somebody help!
It turns out that the island is cursed, and a combination of tobacco, alcohol, and misbehaving, it's more than enough to turn bratty boys into complete jackasses. The darkest part about all this was when we find out that the boys who turned into donkeys are being sold into slavery and never get to go home or be boys again.
See?
I want to go home to my mama.
So that is, I want to show y'all another video also, because our whole childhood is literally full of literal lies. Where's the other video? I just had it. All right, I'll come back to it in a second. Let's go back to what this young lady was saying right here.
Where's the information coming from? Am I going to benefit from this interaction? And maybe we need to start shopping local on pretty much everything, because these national companies that own everything, that do it on the cheap, they're probably being run and solicited by people that aren't in our best interest. Let's be honest.
No, not SpongeBob. No, fucking bro. Do not scroll, because I am about to show you some shit that is about to destroy your childhood. I'm sorry, but if I found it out, y'all gotta know too, because what the fuck? Now, before I say anything, please like, share, and please follow. Please follow, because I need everybody to fucking see this, okay? So we all know that SpongeBob's address on his license is 124 Con Street, Bikini Bottom, right? Oh my God. So I decided to type this address on Google Earth. Okay. See that 124? Yeah. Okay. Why the fuck does Little St. James pop up on fucking... Oh my God. And for those who don't fucking know, Little St. James is fucking Epstein's Island.
And sorry for all the cursing, y'all. This is just the video.
What? Not only that, but look at the shape of the fucking island. Does it look familiar?
Nickelodeon.
Oh my God.
Everything in our childhood is a lie.
Oh my God. This is what makes it so much worse. You know, in the beginning of the show, when the pirate says, are you ready, kids? And they say, aye, aye, captain. If SpongeBob lives on Epstein's Island, right below it, does that mean the kids are on the fucking island right now? I can't. Oh my God.
We can go even farther. Check this out. That's a negative person. Everything.
I'm connecting with little boys, and I take them to Pleasure Island.
We all know about Ellen DeGeneres, right? Y'all see what that is, right? This was Mickey Mouse. Why was Minnie Mouse holding a blank? Y'all know what that is, right? All right, so let's keep going. And then when you look at Turning Point USA, because it's a possibility that Erica Kirk was directly connected to Epstein. Remember this?
You were recruited at a very young age. How did they take you guys to bars in Scottsdale? Because I remember in your video you said that you guys took a bus that had like stripper poles on it. Right. And then they took you out and got you drunk.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
A lot of party buses have stripper poles in it, but like to have like a Christian conservative company,
though, that's where I was
take underage kids that are 17,
and that's what I also
out in Scottsdale. How did they get you to bars in Scottsdale if you were under 21?
Yeah, so the first bar that they took us to, which was with all the administrators, so I'm talking all the higher ups besides Charlie, obviously.
Stripper poles, y'all. Tadpoles, just graduating from high school. Stripper poles. Party buses.
Was not a part of this, but speaking of like the college, the person who ran the college department, the person who ran the high school department were there, and they took us to a bar called Buffalo Chip in Arizona.
Oh, I've heard of
that's
that.
an 18 and up bar,
Okay.
which is already kind of weird as it is. It's a kind of unmoralistic for Christians to go to bars as it is. So it was kind of weird. And then the second day that we went out was with the senior representatives of Turning Point, and those people got us into the bars. The bouncers did not ID anyone because they knew these people that were taking us in and just trusted them, I guess. And these people went and bought us drinks at the bar and said, "Hey, drinks on us, like get as many as you want," and would just keep buying rounds. It was really weird.
And they were totally aware that you were under the age of 21.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
So we went out to the bar. That was the night we went out to the bar with our senior representatives, and they were having us all drink. I had a few drinks myself, I will say that. And they pulled me outside for a minute to smoke a cigarette with them and talk to them. I declined a cigarette because I'm obviously only 17.
They pulled him outside to smoke a cigarette with a tadpole. And everybody knows that these young men and young women are indeed tadpoles. And they want to smoke cigarettes outside with them. They want to drink with them. They want to. This is what I'm saying, y'all. This whole thing is to get our kids.
And a half. But they start talking to me a little bit, and they're like, "So we just overheard you talking about Israel earlier, and we just wanted to know a little bit more. Like, how do you feel about Israel?" And I said, "I feel neutral. Like, I think they're okay." At the time, I hadn't done too much research into what was going on or whatnot, so I didn't care. And they said, "Okay, well, we're part of a pro-Israel group within Turning Point, and we kind of promote for Israel within Turning Point, if you will." And they were like, "Would you be interested in stuff like that?" And I was like,
see, this is recruitment. Turning Point USA is, well, the optics say that they are some type of recruitment center for tadpoles. We have shown multiple times, I can show y'all today, about how Erica Kirk seems to be some sort of recruiter also. Everything is recruitment. Cartoons are a way to recruit us. School is a recruitment PSYOP because it teaches us how to listen to hierarchy and be a robot. And like even famous people like a Michael Jackson or whoever, we're taught to look at this person like they're godlike, right? You know why? In order to have a group of people over here and one person over here, and then now the one person that's up here is paid or incentivized to push a certain type of propaganda on the people that are down here in order to get the people to say, I will do whatever it is that this person says because I look up to them because they're famous. Next thing you know, that person, like a Diddy or any of these other people, when you get invited to be around this famous person, now you're like, oh my God, I'm around this famous person. And now the famous person can get you to do whatever it is that they want you to do because you're so enamored and you're so like happy to be in this person's presence. You'll do whatever they tell you to do. And that is a recruitment method because now you're one of them.
Not really, no. I'm just here for the college department. I work with colleges because I thought it was some different group that they were with. And they said, oh, we're part of some Israeli coalition group that Turning Point hires to come here and work for them. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, that's weird. And I kind of shrugged it off and walked away.
Okay. And so after this night out with these, what would you call them? Did you think that they worked for the Mossad, like the Israeli CIA?
Yeah, I mean, at the time I did, and I can't clarify if they did because I don't have their credentials. I don't know if they really did.
They said they did.
But I believe that they did, yes.
Yeah, in your video, you said like you brought it up to multiple people, but nothing was done about it.
Right.
This is crazy, y'all.
How is any of this legal?
I couldn't tell you.
And there's another recruitment method right here. Listen to this.
I'll tell you a story about when I was 17 at CPAC. When I was 17 at CPAC. So when I was 17, I go to CPAC and I'm a high schooler. Turning Point brings all these like high school and college students.
What?
All these like high school and college students.
Bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Not like super monitored. And there's these politicians and there's these media figures.
And this is a former Turning Point USA employee, just so you know. You see it right up under there. She worked for Turning Point USA and she was a tadpole and she was brought to all these different Diddy parties type of places. And listen to who she was fraternizing with as a tadpole at Turning Point USA.
And all of these adults who said like have access to these college and high school kids, Me and two other girls, they were in college. We got invited to a party. I'm 17. We go to this party and it's in like a penthouse suite, like way up fancy in near a hotel.
What she's saying sounds exactly like what Diddy was doing when he was inviting women up to the Diddy parties. Was Turning Point literally a reincarnation of Diddy parties?
This was like a you turn in your phone kind of party.
Whoa.
So
just like with the Diddy parties.
You at the door, there's like a bouncer, turn in your phone, go inside. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm at a party. Like, wow. And there's at least one senator there. There was several people you'd recognize from Fox News.
Wait, did she say there was one senator there?
Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button.
Did she say there was senators there?
Like several people you'd recognize.
Hold on, let me back it up a little bit.
Gosh, I'm at a party. Like, wow. And there's at least one senator there. There was several people you'd recognize from Fox News. And then just other people that I didn't know who were just probably within that world.
People from Fox News was at this party with tadpoles.
And there were not like other young people there. Like this wasn't like a party thrown for minors or for college kids.
Interesting.
So what haunts me to this day is that in retrospect, none of them even bat an eye at a 17-year-old being there. That was not like, that did not raise, like they let me in. Like I was clearly not like old enough to be around alcohol and certain drugs.
My name is Joshua Peterson. I worked for Turning Point USA and Turning Point USA Faith, and I knew Charlie Kirk personally.
So that's the first guy from the other thing. So this is another young woman. And we're just talking about the method and the pattern. And Turning Point USA is simply the new pattern.
Ultimately what got him killed.
My name is Amanda. I worked for Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk for 4 years. One of those years, I was a donor relations officer. I can't even begin to describe it because the people that I felt like I was working for, they were horrible. I mean, like, it was just some of the worst times ever. And I was working for such an amazing, brilliant idea of an organization, and to see it for what it really was behind the scenes and what makes it Turning Point, which is money. I mean, I'm sorry, but it is. That's how it works in the nonprofit world. It took me so much towards the end not to tell donors to take their money elsewhere. The people that are behind it all are just like the worst of the worst. I've seen it. I know the disgust and the terrible things that go on. I worked for Turning Point and Charlie for 4 years. There are some things I wanted to touch on. Charlie. He was incredible at what he did because he was able to do it without having the distraction of the business. He delegated a lot. And there were some things that were definitely going on that I do not believe that he knew about. You've probably noticed there aren't a lot of Turning Point employees coming on the internet and talking about it. It's insane. The fear and just, there are so many of us who have so many stories and so many things to say, but they make you sign everything and anything under the sun. That is why I was so vague. A lot of people were talking about, well, just say what you have to say. Why are you talking like that? Because I can't. I cannot. They are not above suing someone for a video that gets whatever views on TikTok. I was not fired. That was another one that people said a lot. Oh, she had to have been fired. I left on very reasonable terms after seeing what I saw,
What did she see?
Knowing what I knew, I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't be there in that environment with the people who were just the anxiety and stress and depression that comes from just being in a world of such deception and lies and deceit. It will put a toll on you. I'm saying that after being in it for 4 years, every single day.
He said, Blake is my secret weapon. He's the smartest man I know. And he loved you. And for anybody to suggest, whether it's Candace Owens or any other person within TPUSA was.
All right, so I don't want to go too far in the weeds. So let's get back to what we were talking about originally. Listen to this.
Leon Black is a billionaire. He's the owner of LifeTouch.
So Leon Black is the owner of LifeTouch. Listen.
Where is this company? Where's the information coming from? How am I going to benefit from this interaction? And maybe we need to start shopping local on pretty much everything, because these national companies that own everything, that do it on the cheap, they're probably being run and solicited by people that aren't in our best interests. Let's be honest.
Leon Black is a billionaire.
What's up, Esoterica?
He's the owner of LifeTouch. LifeTouch is the company that takes your children's photos every year at school. They take those photos of our children and upload them to a government database. I've just shown you the receipts of Leon Black doing business with Jeffrey Epstein. That receipt is from the Epstein files. You see those large sums of money? Those were for purchasing
tadpoles.
Where did they get the catalog
to see what tadpoles they want to purchase?
They wanted to purchase? Through the LifeTouch database, y'all. Everyone knows when you go to get your school photo taken, we've all been through it, they are very, very touchy. If you refuse to get your photo taken, even if you're not purchasing it, they don't care. They want you in that catalog.
Yep.
LifeTouch was purchased by Shutterfly, which was purchased by Apollo Global Management, which is what Leon Black owns.
We were in a catalog, y'all. I don't know how far this goes back with Leon Black and EpiPen, but we were like on a menu. We were on a menu. You know, I'll have the shrimp. I'll have the tacos. I'll have the chicken. I'll have the steak. We were literally on somebody's menu. You know how you got a picture of the entree next to the words, and it tells you it comes with mashed potatoes and all this other stuff? We were on a menu. We all were on a freaking menu. Shit is crazy.
But this man is heavily in the Epstein files, sending tons of money back and forth between him and Epstein. We can put 2 and 2 together. You ever think about how you don't see as many missing person photos or missing child photos? They don't want you to find them kids.
Yeah, parents, listen up. You've all gotten these throughout the years, right? From LifeTouch. And when you go through the process of having those photos made, or if you need to reorder that, you typically order in the name of your child.
Wait, what? Esoterica said I was also almost kidnapped when I was a child. Damn.
The classroom, the teacher, the grade, the school, a lot of personal information, right? LifeTouch, the organization that takes all these photos, was acquired by Shutterfly in 2018. In 2019, Shutterfly was acquired by Apollo Global Management. Apollo Global Management is a private equity firm. The 3 men that run Apollo Global Management are all referenced in the Epstein files. So that means that all of your kids' information that I mentioned earlier is within a database that is owned by 3 individuals who had some type of a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, let me be clear, that's not an indictment of any wrongdoing on behalf of these 3 men. From what I can understand, the communication between these 3 guys and Jeffrey Epstein was mostly financial, business related. But in my opinion, this is one example, a kind of scary example of how far-reaching the Epstein empire was.
Desiree says, my child was invited to join the checkerboard secret society when in middle school. That was when I was going full steam ahead against the experimental, the thing, I don't want to say it. I don't think any of this was coincidence.
And why we can't stop asking questions, or why we can't just move on from this.
Schools all over the U.S. are canceling Picture Day due to the co-founder, right? Parent company, Epstein files. You don't have to read it. Just know all the pictures they have of children over the years, that shit wasn't just for parents. That shit was a catalog.
A damn catalog. Send this video to anybody that you know or in your family that has kids, because we have to stop all parents from allowing their kids to be a part of this catalog, because it's literally a menu. They're just flipping through pictures like, ooh, I like that one. Ooh, I like that one. And guess what? They have your name, they have your address, they have your age, and they have your parents' information also.
Magazine.
Because when you buy the actual pictures, you got to put your personal information in.
We're not angry enough. I'm 30. Realistically, my picture from when I was a kid is probably on someone's hard drive right now.
Your elementary kids would take school pictures, right? And then the school pictures would be uploaded to LifeTouch. And LifeTouch would possibly send your kids' pictures to modeling agencies. And next thing you know, modeling agencies are now watching your daughter's pictures. And then when she goes to middle school, her face will show up in the database and say, oh, she's getting older. I see her maturing. And next thing you know, the modeling agencies can actually target your freaking kids. Your elementary schools were visited by modeling agencies. LifeTouch started with 500 in 1936 as a national school studies. Oh, with $500. Damn. My stepdad worked for LifeTouch 10 years ago. Oh, shit. They laid him off saying some kid made an obscene gesture and just found out about this. Damn. You are not angry enough.
For Slovenian women, it's like we resent Melania. She's kind of a sellout. She's like this whore that now is being paraded. So for them to like kind of get the Slavic women, put it on display like we got, and like Melania, it's just how they ridicule Christians. It's just it's a cherry on top.
You're saying Melania Trump is Slovenian, right?
Yes, and she was born 30 kilometers from where I was born, so I hear things. So, for example, long before Obama, for example, friend of a friend had Trumps for dinner way before Obama. And it was already said, well, there will be a black president, and it will be me. Like, it's all decided. So in Slovenia, we know that in America, elections are fake, and that all this is decided. Americans are still, I feel for you there. but like we kind of have this understanding.
Elections are fake, y'all. I'm not telling anybody what to do and what not to do, but elections are fake. Presidential elections are fake. They're not like, think about this. They view the American people as stupid sheep. Okay? Put a 1 in the chat if you agree that the elites view American people as stupid sheep. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that. Not that is true, but if you agree that that's how they view you. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree that the elites view the rest of us like stupid sheep. I want to see. Okay, so y'all putting 1s in the chat. Okay. So I want you to think about this. If the elites view us like we're stupid sheep, why would they allow us to vote for which one of them go into office? I just want y'all to just think about that. If they view us like we're stupid, why would they have a bunch of stupid people voting for which elite individual runs the stupid people in their mind? It doesn't make any sense. So just like school pictures is fake, just like famous people are broke and fake, they're just propped up in order to indoctrinate the rest of us. School is fake. All this shit is fake. Prison and school is the same thing. They even call prison the places where the prisoners go in and sleep at, they call them dorms. So prisons are called dorms, just like college. So you wake up and all this stuff is fake. Santa Claus is fake. Easter egg, Easter bunny is fake. All this shit is fake. You don't think presidential elections aren't fake also? I don't vote for presidents. I personally think it's stupid to just be standing in line voting for a damn president. They're not going to sit here and have us who don't know nothing about politics to actually vote for a politician to run us. No, I'm the president of my own United States. I don't need no damn president to tell me what the hell to do. I think it's all stupid. So y'all can continue to do what y'all want to do. It's cool. You know, church is fake. All this shit is fake. Money is fake. Money literally is backed by oil. That's why they're at war with Iran now. All this shit is fake. Money is just a damn piece of paper. Money is simply a piece of paper, and everybody came into an agreement that a piece of paper is worth a certain amount of money. It's a damn piece of paper. All this shit is fake. So voting is fake. You know, if America does not win this Iran war, we're not even going to use money anymore. We're not going to use American money anymore. We're going to use the yuan. And your money is going to be yellow instead of green, which proves that money is fake. All this shit is fake. So I'm not here to make y'all to stop going to church. I'm not here to make y'all stop voting. I'm just here to let y'all know church is fake. Money is fake. Your childhood pictures are fake. The elections are fake. Presidents are fake. All this shit is fake. Democrats versus Republicans is fake. You know, Republicans are red. Democrats are blue. Crips are blue. Bloods are red. Blood versus Crips, black on black crime and gang. It's the same shit. Because if you look at gang wars, what is that? It's I'm selling drugs over here and somebody else is selling drugs over there and they're getting all the money. So we go to war and start shooting up and having drive-bys on somebody else's block because we want their turf. What the hell do you think America is doing to Iran right now? They're doing the same shit. They're doing drive-bys on Iran in order to get oil, in order to get their turf. They're doing the same turf wars as the Bloods and Crips are doing. It's all fake. but they demonize everything black people do. So y'all keep voting, y'all keep going to church, but I'm letting you know all that shit is fake. And I'm not saying God is fake. I'm saying church is fake.
Parents in Slovenia are very naive. We had modeling agencies coming to our elementary schools.
You said modeling agencies are coming to your elementary school?
Elementary school, yeah. And I never even thought anything about it. Like, you understand? Like, now when I watch you and I see the things unfolding, I'm like, oh my God, that was actually kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
I remember I was 12, 13. They came and they was like, we're taking pictures of you. You can be a model. And I like had a physicist father that just came home and was ranting about how models are, you know, whores. And so I didn't touch that.
She said, so I didn't touch that. So modeling agencies came to her elementary school, but because she had a father, he steered her away from that and said, go to school.
I studied, you know, biology. And I also know a model that went to that world, told me they really do treat you like cattle, like cow. Because I think Melania is just the one that gave in. That's why we have no respect for her, right? I don't think she was like Erica. Is like, she is bred in America. To me, it looks like for a specific purpose.
So let me share something about Melania that you may or may not know, because some of y'all seen this video, but this is the reason why everybody in Slovenia thinks Melania is a whore. Watch this.
Melania Trump came out and made the statement she did is because a book is being released in the United Kingdom in 2 days where there's interviews and pieces from interviews where Epstein and Prince Andrew discuss how they were both fucking Melania before she was passed on to Donald and how they were all shocked when he married a paid-for whore.
Cattle, like cow. Because I think Melania is just the one that gave in. That's why we have no respect for her, right?
She said Melania is the one that gave in. Like, she had no dignity. She just went with the people. And now nobody from her hometown in Slovenia trusts or believe her because everybody looks at Melania like she's a whore.
Physicist father that just came home and was ranting about how models are, you know, whores. And so I didn't touch that.
She said, so I didn't touch that. So modeling agencies came to her elementary school, but because she had a father, he steered her away from that and said, go to school.
I studied, you know, biology. And I also know a model that went to that world, told me they really do treat you like cattle, like cow. Because I think Melania is just the one that gave in. That's why we have no respect for her, right? I don't think she was like Erica. Is like, she is bred in America. To me, it looks like for a specific purpose from specific people. Knowing Slovenian parents, Slovenian culture, I don't think that's Melania. I think she just was pretty, as most Slavic women are. She was beautiful and she gave in, you know. They do come for beautiful women of Slovenia, make them stars in America or wherever. And just like Melania became famous and probably is also doing weird stuff. I'm not defending this woman. I think that's correct. I think they are both connected via same handlers, EpiPen, all those people.
Melania, you in danger, girl. You know that friend that you had got deported? Well, she out of ICE custody, and apparently she on your neck. Melania, what was going on yesterday? You must have found out your friend got out of ICE custody. Now, before we can talk about that speech Melania gave, we have to actually talk about this article by the New York Times. Now, in this image seen here at the 2021 Mar-a-Lago New Year's Eve party, the woman seen there goes by the name of Amanda Ungaro.
This just in, a new way of healing is sweeping the country, and it's a card game called Like Mother, Like Daughter. This game is powerful.
My favorite question was, if you could parent me all over again, what would you change? This card game has a mother deck and a daughter deck, so we both have questions for each other.
These are some good questions. Do you think I'm a people pleaser? If so, where did I get this trait from?
This card game actually helped my marriage, and the questions showed me that I still had unresolved issues with my mom, and I was taking them out on my husband.
If you don't do anything else, buy this card game. You won't regret it. Click the link below.
Like mother, like daughter, we are the same. You'll see when we play this game.
And getting married to a Brazilian doctor, she ended up being caught up in some sort of like scheme. like Medicare fraud or something like that, which again, people are starting to speculate that it came from the baby daddy. Well, after she had got arrested, he then called Donald Trump and had her deported to Brazil, her and her Brazilian doctor husband. And then he took custody of their 17-year-old son. The son asked to go to Brazil with his mom, but then was in Brazil, was like, oh, I'd rather come back to the States. So now he's with the dad. Now let's talk about.
So right there, the son asked to go back to the United States because he did not like Brazil. So to all the people who keep being in my comment saying that, oh my God, they took her son from her. No, he's 17 or 16 years old. He made a choice to not be in Brazil with his mom right here.
Like scheme, like Medicare fraud or something like that, which again, people are starting to speculate that it came from the baby daddy. Well, after she had got arrested, he then called Donald Trump and had her deported to Brazil, her and her Brazilian doctor husband. And then he took custody of their 17-year-old son. The son asked to go to Brazil with
The son asked to go to Brazil at first.
his mom, but then was in Brazil, was like, oh, I'd rather come back to the States. So
And he asked to go back to the States. Nobody took her son from her. Her son did not want to live with her, like I kept saying. So for all the people in my comments, like, oh my God, they took her son. No, he's 16, 17 years old. He don't want to be there.
now he's with the dad. Now let's talk about what that has got to do with Melania. Apparently, that girl has been on a crusade because she is an Epstein victim. She stated that she had flew into the United States at 17 years old on the Lolita Express, child. And she stated that that's when she had met Melania.
And she's talking about Amanda Ungaro.
Melania had then got introduced to Mr. Zamboli or whatever you say his name. She dated him, and then she turned around and dated Donald Trump, referring to Melania. Yes, honey, they was all dating, if that makes sense. Melania was dating Zamboli, then she turned around and dated Donald Trump. That's how they met, okay? Now let's fast forward to Melania's little weird speech she gave trying to separate herself from the Epstein files, right? Apparently, Amanda Ugaro is out of ICE custody. And these are the tweets that she's been putting out since that speech. She said, hello, Melania. I was around you for 20 years, and you know I was inside ICE, and you know what hurts after all this time? I stay close to your family, your mother and your father, not because of you, but because of them. At events and everything else. So shut your mouth when speaking about me, because I will expose everything I know. And that's what brings us to Melania's speech. Melania must have got word that she got out of ICE custody. That's what I think. I think Melania found out, oh, she out of ICE custody. Let me go ahead and separate myself before my best friend say something. Now, other people are speculating that Melania did this speech to separate herself from Donald Trump. Who knows at this point? But I think it has more to do with Amanda getting out of ICE custody.
So all of this, whether it's Amanda Ungaro, because like she said, she was put on Jeffrey EpiPen's plane at the age of 17 YO. Everything points to traffic lights, tadpole traffic lights. And that means trafficking, but I try to not say the word or the phrase. So we have to, as parents, make sure that we heal from our own trauma, like, and pay attention to our own kids instead of just, you know, moving around, going to work, doing all these different things without focusing on making sure that our kids trust us and we trust our kids to do what they're supposed to do, and for us to do what we're supposed to do as parents. Because if not, literally the entire world is waiting on you to mess up. The entire world is waiting for you and your daughter and your son to not get along anymore so the world can take your kid. Literally everything in the world is trying to take your son and daughter away from you. And that's the reason why I created my card games. It's meant to galvanize the family, is meant to make sure that the parents of the kid and the kid with the parents are on one plane, or on just have one mindset. Because if you don't get along with your daughter, and your daughter goes to the mall with her friends, and some random ass man walks up, or some random ass lady, because it's usually a woman that is paid to do all these things. And when that actual person walks up to your son and daughter saying that, oh my God, you're so pretty, or you're so amazing, you're so this, you're so that, guess what? If they don't get along with their parents, and that person says, hey, would you like to be a model? Hey, would you like to go with me? Hey, you want some money? Hey, you want to get in my car? Hey, you want some ice cream? Hey, you want some candy? And you and your kid are not getting along with each other, they're going to go because they don't like you. And what they're doing is they're comparing the possibility of being with this other adult and getting things that you're not offering them instead of being with you. But if you have a good emotional baseline, because you and your daughter have sat down and had great intimate discussions about life, about how they feel about living in the household with you, about how to heal from anything that you said or they said to you, and y'all work things out, and your child trusts you, and then you're able to have the birds and the bees conversation, or the extension of the birds and the bees conversation, which is, hey, when you go to a party, don't let nobody manipulate you. Don't let a man do this. Don't let a woman do this. And y'all have these great relationships with each other. When that person approaches your daughter saying that, hey, you want to be a model? The first thing she's going to do is say, wait, let me consult with my mom. Let me consult with my dad. Let me make sure my parents know about this random ass person walking up to me talking about I'm beautiful. Because my daddy told me I was beautiful. My mother told me I was beautiful. So you telling me I'm beautiful and I look like a model does not affect me. Because my parents already told me. My parents are the ones that instilled self-love inside of me. So I don't need you to try to put something inside of me, because my parents already did from an emotional standpoint. That part right there is so important, because people are trying to get your son and daughter and take them away from you. But you have to make sure that their baseline is intact. And if you don't do that for your kid, with your kid, you'll lose your kid. There's thousands of girls on Figueroa. Figueroa, put a one in the chat if you know what Figueroa is. Put a one in the chat if you know what Figueroa is. Figueroa, for those who don't know, is a strip in LA where prostitutes walk up and down the strip selling ass. And you can legally, I don't know, legally, not legal, I don't know. I know Vegas, I don't know how to, it's very almost legal, where you could just ride up, pull up in a car and say, hey, get in, and you can get whatever you want. And the reason why they're there is because they're parents. The reason why they're there is because they're parents. Most of those girls aren't from LA. They got kidnapped or traffic lighted out there. So it starts at home. It starts with the parents. And that's why I believe in keeping a family together. So get your card game, because Mother's Day is around the corner. Mother's Day is around the corner. Get your card game, either for women in your family, buy it for yourself, and you can play it with yourself. You don't even need your daughter. You don't need your mom. Like, it's two different decks in each card game. So you can play it by yourself. If your mother isn't here, you know, maybe your mother passed away or you don't get along with your mother, you can play it yourself. Have fun. Play it with your friends. But we have to stop the world from having the advantage over us. And that's the reason why I do what I do. So with all that being said, I will talk to y'all later. And yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
If you had one wish involving us, what would it be?
That we got along better.
Okay.
The day that you told me, like, I was so happy for you, my mindset toward you completely changed. I think after you had her, you realized like how hard it is to be a mom, and like when you look back at things that maybe like made you mad at me, you realize like, okay, well, that is hard.
Just bought this mother-daughter card game because I came to the realization that my issues with my mom are not resolved, so I decided to do something about it. Just played this card game with my mom and we both literally broke down crying. Here's the card game right here. Buy it. Every woman needs this. You won't regret it.
Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. And somebody said I should go to the Les Jesse Lee Peterson show. Yeah, I'm down with going on anybody's show. Like, yeah, I would love to share my platform with them and them share their platform with me. So yeah, 1000%. All right, playing the like button song. Where's the song? Here we go.
Everybody hit the like button. 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 If you got something to say, drop it in the comments. Don't be acting afraid. What? Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. If you got something to say, drop it in the comments. Don't be acting afraid. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know you at. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know you at. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know you at. Drop your city. What? Drop your city in the chat. What? Drop your city. What? Drop your city in the chat. Drop your city in the chat.
All right. I'm buying the card game for someone as a gift, Mr. Let Go. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You are recognizing a pattern. However, it is not the whole world. There are still good people, but don't migrate to my country. All right. What country are you in? What do you mean? Today, I watched electric bikes left unlocked while owners shop. What country is that? And what's going on in your country? That's crazy. But I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good rest of y'all's day.